Hello and welcome to the 22nd episode of Down the Hobbit Hole. My name is Emily and today is Thursday, August the 24th, 2017, and this is my weekly podcast about knitting and spinning and all things making. And yeah, if you'd like to find us online, you can find me on Ravelry as MistyMountMakers, and you can also find our group there under the groups tab, and it's Down the Hobbit Hole. And you can find us on Instagram as MistyMountainMakers, and you can find all our hand-dyed yarn and spinning fiber at MistyMountainMakers.com. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apologize now if I'll try to edit them out, but if I'm yawning throughout this episode, it's about 8:40 at night. So typically at this point, Tim and I are either sprawled out on the couch watching Beverly Hillbillies or something just to wind down, or we're actually getting ready for bed because we are old people at heart. But yeah, I have some tea, but it is herbal. It's actually mint that it was growing on the property when we got here, and I had to clear it all away because the guy was coming to check out the AC. So now I have a lovely mint tea, and it's not as sweet as sweet mint, but it's definitely got its own kind of sweetness to it. It's not aggressively minty. It's really, really nice. And I'm drinking that in my new mug, which is so blue and happy, which is perfect. But yeah, I guess the first thing we're going to get into is the There and Back Again cowl, which has finished. And the There and Back Again cowl was 3 months of knitting and crocheting, just anything Middle Earth or Tolkien themed. So I went ahead and the finished objects thread is closed. I left the chatter thread open just because why not? But you can still, if you've been tracking your mileage, over the last 3 months, or if you have just a record of it somewhere, even if you weren't actively tracking it for the cowl, like I have a Fitbit, so I could always look up any time frame to see what my mileage was then. But if you want to join in, you can go to the final mileage thread and post how many miles you got, where that placed you in Middle Earth, and how you got those miles, whether you were walking, riding a bike, scooter, unicycle, whatever you're riding. And I'll be drawing for that, and we have about 2 weeks left. So you still have time to enter there if you'd like to. But for the finished objects, we're going to go ahead and I'll say who won prizes there, and I'm going to say who also won prizes for the chatter thread. So the first item was, and this is for the finished objects thread, the first item is a project bag, and the winner actually gets to choose. There are 2 different sizes, and they're both Dunedain inspired. So I'll show you the first one. First one's pretty large. You can definitely fit a nice size project in here. I think you could definitely fit a sweater project in here, depending on the weight of the sweater and all that, but a nice big shawl. And it will not be coming with fluff on it, but it's got a little ring on the side. It has a little stitch marker ring inside with a little lobster claw. And it will, if the winner chooses, if they choose this one, it will have a pocket. And this one's the same as far as coloring goes. It's a little bit smaller. And this is that pocket I was talking about. And this one also has the claw. And here is the handle. and it rotates. It's got some little rivets, and it's got that wood grain lining on the inside, along with this guy. So this will be stuck to it. There we go. And it says, not all those who wander are lost. And that's part of the words about Aragorn, not Aragon. And so that'll be attached. So the winner for the project bag is post number 2, which was Inkblobs. So that's Tanya. And that's Tanya from the Hooked on Inkblobs podcast. And she submitted a, it was a cardigan. It was a Mama Vertebrae knit out of Rowan yarn. And she called it the Riders of Rowan cardigan, which still makes me so happy. I'm still so amused by that. So thank you, Tanya, for taking part. I will definitely get that out to you. So just get in touch with me through Ravelry and send me your address, and I will get that out to you. All of the prizes will include, should have mentioned this before, stroop waffles and little knitting pins, courtesy of Tanya. Except for Tanya's. I don't think Tanya wants to get her same things back, so I'll have something special in there for Tanya. But they're so cute. I have one on my Star Wars project bag. So I'll have some other goodies in there for Tanya, which I will keep a surprise. So, there we go. And prize number 2 was a skein of yarn. This is on my halfling base, which is 75% superwash Corriedale wool and 25% nylon. And this is dyed up special for the cow. This is Dunedain. So it's got these nice dark browns, lots of green, a little bit of speckling throughout. So that skein is going to go to post number 5, which was by Sock Knitter, and her name is Deb, and she knit 4 pairs of socks for the cow. 4. And they're all themed for Lord of the Rings. And the one that she posted in post number 5 was actually the first pair she finished. It was the Hobbitland colorway by Bakery Bear's Cottage. So thank you so much for participating, Deb. Get in touch with me, and I will, or with your address, and I will get this skein of yarn out to you with all the little goodies included. And yeah, so those are the prizes for the finished objects thread. For the chatter thread, we had 2 winners, and the first winner was is for a pattern of your choice, and it's from Babs Rudlin. Her pattern collection, it's the Dragon Scale collection. So she's got a hat, a scarf, and a cowl. Hat, scarf, and cowl. So it'll be the winner's choice, which one they want. And the winner was Abby. So her Ravelry ID is Not Turn Abby. So Abby, even though I actually know you locally, get in touch with me, and I will I'll get you in contact with Babs Rudlin so that she can send you the pattern of your choice. So yeah, let me know which one you'd like, and we'll get that to you. The second winner is going to win a pair or a set of stitch markers of your choice, also from Babs Rudlin. So thank you, Babs, for donating prizes to the cow. And so the winner of that is Craft Needle Addict. And so that goes to Delia, who is the host of the... Oh, hello, Tiber. Come on. Yeah. Hello. Delia is... Oh, not Delia. Crap. Tiber came to join us. So the second prize for the chatter thread is... Stop it. Is a set of stitch markers of your choice, which is also from Babs Rudlin. And you can find her on Ravelry as My Fiery Phoenix if you want to check out her patterns. And you can find her on Instagram as A Fiery Phoenix. So I'll have all of her information down below and links to all the patterns and things that I talked about. So you can find all that information below. So the winner of the stitch markers of their choice is post number 13, which is Craft Needle Addict. And that's Delia, and she's actually she has a podcast called Needle Addict, and she's currently on a bit of a hiatus, but hopefully she'll be coming back soon, since I believe she is headed back to Edinburgh I think she had some visa issues, but now she's got everything sorted out, and I think she's headed back home. So hopefully we'll be seeing more episodes from her. But regardless of... I'm getting off topic. Regardless of that, Delia, definitely get in contact with me, and I will get you in touch with Babs Rudlin, and we'll get you those stitch markers as soon as possible. So, yeah, but I think those are all the prizes that we have so far. I will be drawing more prizes for the final mileage thread, but that doesn't close for another 2 weeks, so you still have time to submit your final mileage, so don't forget to do that. And for everyone who took part in the chatter thread and submitted a finished object, I still want to, since this was my first cal, and I really enjoyed doing it, and I really appreciated everyone who, took part in the chatter thread and submitted finished objects. Get in touch with me with your mailing address, even if you didn't win a prize, and I'm still going to send out little goodie packages to everyone who took part, just as a thank you. So I'll try to make sure that everybody gets a pin and a stroop waffle, which they're amazing, by the way. A little messy if you forget about it for too long and the caramel drips down your mug a little bit, but those things are fantastic. So thank you again, Tanya, for sending those. But yeah, get in touch with me with your mailing address through Ravelry, and I will get a goodie prize out. If not this week, I'll try to get it out next week. But I think that takes us into finished objects. So, let's see. I only have one finished object this week, unfortunately. I was hoping to finish a couple of other things, but we had... I live in Tennessee, so the solar eclipse, we didn't have any plans for that. And then on Friday, we suddenly decided that we did have plans, and we were going to have a bunch of people at our house. So crafting got put a bit on the back burner this past week, but I'll go into that later towards the end. But I did finish. There we go. Managed to get it without crushing the cat. I did finish another project bag. Now this is one that was in progress last week. I was having some trouble finishing up these seams here with the leather because it was just so thick. My sewing machine was having some trouble with it. But I just ripped out all the old stitches and slowly turned the needle by hand, and that seemed to work just fine. But here it is. It's got an actual leather bottom. The project bags for the cal have like a faux leather, just in case anybody has trouble or anyone has problems with leather. I didn't want to make that with leather. But it's got the pocket. It's got my little lobster claw to hold stitch markers and whatever else you want to put in there. This one still needs a handle, but it's got a leather tab holding the little ring on there. So I'm happy about this. I'm not sure which project's going to be moving into it, but I have so many whips that it's just nice having another bag. So we'll see. If nothing else, it was really fun to make, and I'm really enjoying making project bags right now. So plus I needed to get more comfortable with my sewing machine since I've got a quilting class coming up. So it's my one finished object for the week, and I'm very happy with it. For works in progress, the first one I've got to show is my snowfall sweater. So here it is, and I've done about 1.5 inches, 2 inches since last week, and it's kind of scrunched up on the needles, so it's a bit it's a bit bigger than it looks. But I'm using Cascade 220, which is what the pattern actually calls for. I didn't realize that at first. But I'm using discontinued colors, so that's why you can see the stripe coming through every 3 rows. I'm supposed to have 3 skeins of the main color, and I only had 2, so I figured 2 rows in the color I have the most of. If I'm supposed to have 3 skeins, that alternating to have 1 skein per row works out really well. I shouldn't run out of yarn. I should have plenty. And for the contrasting color, I picked up 2 skeins of white, so I'm definitely covered there. But I'm really enjoying how the stripe looks, and I have 8 inches so far, and I only need 15 before I split for the front and the back. So it's going really well, and I just need to remember to take it with me, because it should be now, but it wasn't one of the first projects. It wasn't one of the projects in the front of my mind. So when we went to church on Sunday, I grabbed the baby sweater that I was working on, but I was still working on increases every other row, and every other row you have to remember to do the purl stitches on the tops of the sleeves, and I basically couldn't knit during church because I had to think about it. Being able to fidget during church with my knitting helps me stay focused, but if it's too complicated, then I can't pay attention, and I'm definitely going to choose to pay attention rather than focusing on my knitting during church. So didn't get very far on the baby sweater because that was pretty much the only day that I had time to work on it. But this will definitely be going with me, so I should be able to get maybe Tiber. Why are you cleaning yourself right underneath my tripod? Sorry. I should be able to get at least a 1/2 inch done at church. Probably closer to 1 inch. So, speaking of the baby sweater, I am not as far along as I would like to be, but here is the sweater. It's got the cutest little neck hole, or I guess, yeah, and you can see this is where the sleeves will be, and you can see the increases here. And I love the way it's turning out. It's so tiny, and it's so adorable. I just need to pick up the pace a little bit. It should be finished quickly. I just keep trying to work on it at times that I shouldn't. Like trying to work on it at church when I had to look down for increases and remember where to do the purl stitches. So I tried for like 10 minutes and I gave up. It wasn't going to happen. But I should have more time for it this week. So hopefully this weekend I can get through to where the arms separate. Because what I want to do is finish the increases and then do 4 rounds of brown, go back to 2 rounds of white, and then stick to brown the rest of the way down until I get to the cuffs. I think that's the color shift that I want to do to bring it into the brown. Not sure. We'll see. But I should be past that point by next week's podcast. And I'll try to put some pictures on Instagram when I get to that point, if I do that before the next podcast. So this is also Cascade 220, but it's Cascade 220 Superwash. And it's just in a creamy white. Come on, jump back up. It's in a creamy white, and then this kind of soft brown. So I think it's going to look really nice. They're going for neutrals because they don't know what the sex of the baby will be. So they asked specifically for a neutrals palette. Alright, and here's one that I was also really hoping to finish, and I got a good chunk of it done considering how much time I actually did have to knit. And it is my adventurous It is my adventurous market bag. So here we are. I've actually finished the bag portion. It looks great. Oh, I love it. It looks like it's going to be able to hold quite a bit. And it's extremely stretchy. So before, I think I was about here in the stockinette stitch. So I finished the bottom, and now I've got about 15 inches to go for the seed stitch for the strap, and then I just connect it somehow. I don't remember how, but her pattern, I believe, is out. I believe it's available. I'll have the link down below, but definitely check it out. It's such a great bag, and it's what I really like about it is you see a lot of bags that are just kind of mesh, where it's either well, I mean, if you look up project bag on Ravelry, you'll see they're very open, which is great for stretching, but this bag manages to have stretch but also some structure to it, and I don't feel like my stuff's gonna fall out, and I don't feel like my softer items are gonna get crushed in the bag, which I always feel like it's gonna happen with the one market bag I have that is just kind of a mesh. So check out her pattern. It's really great, and it's, I think, her first design. So yes, if you're in need of a market bag, take a look. But I think the only other thing, sweater, baby flax, yeah. The only other thing I have planned is to get me ready for my quilting class. And that's not coming up until, it's not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. And so I want to work with my sewing machine, with quilting cottons, just to make sure that I'm not going to have any problems in the class, because it would be really unfortunate if I got there, tried to take the class, and something went wrong with my sewing machine. So I've had these for a while, but it is a charm pack. So it has all of these fun colors already put together, already cut to the right size. And these are 5-inch squares, and you get 42 of them. And I got this from the same quilt shop that I got, that I'm taking the class at, but this was back when it moved locations, it changed owners, I think, and it used to be Pappy's, but now it's moved to Maryville, and it's called Twisted Sisters. So I love their quilt shop. It's so great. If you're ever in Maryville, or if you're in Knoxville and you want to come, if you quilt or sew anything, definitely go check it out. Their selection is awesome. They have so many fun things that you don't find at like Joann's or Hobby Lobby, and this is one of those things. So I guess Joann's has charm packs, but I like the ones at Twisted Sisters a bit more. So it's the first time I've actually felt the need to buy them. But it's got all of these really super bright colors, and I'm gonna finally lay this out and figure out what my quilt is gonna look like. And I got some extra fabric to try to add on to it, and I've got this mini charm pack. It's so cute. And this one's a little bit darker, just a little bit. It's got some grays in there. So I'm going to try to work those into the quilt top. But mostly what I want to do is lay it out, pile up my rows, and just sew a few of them. So the objective is not to finish the quilt top, because that's kind of ridiculous. I don't know that I'd be able, well, I've never quilted before, so maybe I could, but I don't know that I'd be able to finish a quilt top in the week that I have until my class. But hopefully I'll be able to lay it out and just get my rows laid out so that I can go back in and just grab a row every once in a while and just start sewing them together. And then once I have all my rows together, I can go through and sew all of my rows together. I don't know what I'm going to do after that, because I've never attached batting or put binding on a quilt, but hopefully I'll be able to figure that out at the quilt class. It's just we're doing paper piecing, which is different than doing like a patchwork quilt. So we'll see. They're so nice and really, really knowledgeable about what, just anything to do with quilting there. So if I have any problems, I'm sure they'll be able to help me. So those are all the things that I have finished, or I'm working on, or I'm going to be working on. But before we finish up with fibery things today, I did want to talk about something that I keep forgetting to say, and I feel terrible. And that is thank you to Megan of Little Fish Stitches. She's got the Little Fish Stitches podcast, and she's mentioned Down the Hobbit Hole several times, and thank you so much. I love your podcast, and we were friends on Instagram, and so it was really cool seeing her podcast start up, and I love watching it each week. And she'll sometimes record outside or inside, and she's got like a crafting nook and everything. And I really like watching what she's working on. She was making the Ernest cardigan by Joji Locatelli, and it's like a fully patterned, it's not like you're working in stockinette stitch, and she was blowing through just like inches of it a week, which is really impressive considering she's knitting so many other things at the same time. So yeah, she gets quite a bit done. But I thought on that note, I would mention a couple podcasts that I've been really enjoying, and aside from hers, because as you know, I do like Megan's podcast, so definitely check out Little Fish Stitches. I'll have a link down below if you haven't seen her already. So another podcast you should definitely check out is Knitting the Stash, and that's with Melissa, and I love her podcast. She seems just so nice and so relatable, and I love all the projects she's working on. And she, a few episodes ago, she was talking about her experiences with brioche, and I think she's doing a kind of like a community knitting project where she's asking people to send in knitted squares with a yarn that means something to you, and you send the squares to her. To some degree, people are getting a set of knitting needles, and the idea is they will get the knitting needles, they will knit a square, and then they will pass on the needles to someone new, and you don't have to get those needles to participate. You can just knit a square yourself, but you knit the square, you send it to her, and she's going to assemble blankets, and then at the end of however long this takes, she will basically have everybody's name in a hat and pull, and those people are going to get those blankets, which I think is really cool and really just, it's a really nice idea, and I really love the community building that she's into. I just hope she gets to keep one of the blankets if there's more than one blanket, because all that work going into it, she definitely deserves to have a blanket at the end of the day. Another one that I've been watching is Little Bean Crochet with Kayleen, and she's been doing a lot of live streams with her podcast. So I think that's been really cool. She'll be twisting up skeins, and you can ask her questions and she'll answer them there. And it's just really cool being able to chat with her. And I always manage to be at the grocery store or something like that when she starts the live streams. It's just so disappointing. I haven't been able to catch one live yet, but I really like watching the replays, and she's so sweet and friendly, and her kids are always running around in the background being absolutely adorable, but I'm sure very distracting when you're trying to work. But those are so great. She's done, I think, 3 now that have been live, and hopefully I'll be able to catch the next one. I'm hoping. And then another few, We Are Yarn with Amanda, and she's actually local. She lives over here in East Tennessee with me. Not with me, but she lives close to me. And she has been uploading her old videos. So she's, I think, in the 200s for her number of episodes, but she's bringing all these episodes that I think were on iTunes over to YouTube. So she has like vintage episodes that are from back when she first started. So that's been really cool. I haven't watched the new ones yet. I'm waiting for them to pile up so I can kind of watch a big chunk of them, since her episodes are about 20 minutes long. So I can kind of pull out a segment in the morning where I am going to just sit, have some coffee, watch podcasts, and knit, and just go through her early episodes. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think the newest podcast that I've gotten into is Caffeinated Crafting with Daniela. So she also lives over here in East Tennessee, and I love her podcast. She's just she just seems to have so much fun recording, and she's always working on dishcloths, and she's already working on Christmas presents, which has me just a little stressed out because I haven't started working on anything, and honestly I'm probably not going to knit anything for anyone except for Tim. But most of my family lives in Florida anyway, so they don't need anything knit. But she's always working on, she finishes so many each week, and she's got different charities that she knits for, and it's just really cool seeing all the things that she's making. She makes a lot of socks, which they're also pretty, and she's putting together, she's going to be making one of those Wonder Woman shawls. I don't know if you've seen them on Ravelry, but it's a pretty cool shawl. But she's picking out her colors, and I cannot wait to see her cast on and see how that shawl goes. So all of those podcasts will be linked down below. So hopefully that'll help you find some new podcasts. I know I end up, by the end of the week, just not having anything to watch because I've run out of podcasts. So I'm always looking for new ones. So if you want to tell me down below what your favorite podcast is right now, or podcasts, definitely let me know. I'd love to see what you guys are watching. So I think we're finished with all of the fiber stuff. So if you this is your first time watching the podcast, thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked it, definitely, subscribe below so you can get notified when new videos come out. And for everyone else who comes back every week, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's really, really nice seeing people coming back each week and commenting and everything like that. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And definitely down below, hit the link to check out the Ravelry group and join if you're interested. It's a lot of fun over there. But yeah, I'll see you all next week. And for everyone else, we'll get on to the life stuff and not so nitty portion. So, we had the solar eclipse on Monday, and that was really, really cool. Like, we weren't, Tim expected to do something with work, and I was just expecting to, like, go flop out in the front yard or something with glasses and watch it happen on my own, because we didn't have anything planned. Pretty much everyone we knew was going to be working, and then they decided to do, like, a work outing to go watch the solar eclipse. And someone suggested that they do it at our property. And Tim asked me, and we both agreed that, yeah, that'd be fun. But they decided that on Friday. So we were, it's not that the house, like, we had yard work that was getting put off that needed to be done. So, like, even though, we mow, there was weed whacking to do and specific parts of the garden that needed to be fixed up before people came over, and just a general cleaning of the house. So we spent like Friday evening and Saturday and Sunday just, getting food, grocery shopping, because we were going to do a whole cookout and getting everything together. The one thing we didn't have were glasses to watch the solar eclipse, because I saw tons of them at our grocery store, and I was like, oh, good. They've got tons of them. I'll get them when we need them. And they sold out really fast. So luckily, there's a coffee shop it's just a small coffee shop. It's called the Artistic Bean over in Maryville, and they saved about 70 of them. And so on the day of the solar eclipse, you come in and you can get you could get a pair of glasses for free as long as you spend $5 or more. So Tim and I went in. Tim got a box of tea and a cup of tea, and I got a cupcake and I think an iced latte? I'm not sure. But it was great. Everything they had was perfect, and we got our glasses, which was really exciting. We just had to be there when they opened at 6:30. Because there was actually a line outside of people who needed to get some glasses, but couldn't get them locally or forgot. So, we were up bright and early that Monday. We tried to get them on Sunday, but they were actually only giving away the glasses on Monday. So, and then we spent the day getting ready for everyone to come over. Everyone got over about noon, and it actually takes a really long time for the moon to get into place over the sun, and it's really interesting the way that everything slowly dims, and then when the moon fully covers the sun, it's absolutely just gorgeous. And then all of the crickets started going to town, all the bugs in the woods, like it was dusk. They all started going off. Roosters started crowing, and it was very, very, very cool. We didn't get any good photos of it, But it was very pretty, and I'm really glad we did it. Like, I spent most of my week getting ready for that, and then I spent all of Tuesday cleaning up from that, which I didn't have to. Plenty of people offered to clean up, but they were, heading back, either headed home or headed back to work, and some of them had people in town, so I just told them not to worry about it. I didn't worry about it, and I just spent Tuesday getting everything picked up and back into the house. So yeah, it was so cool. And we were actually in, I think about 7 years, there's going to be another eclipse that has, I think we'd have to drive over to Memphis in order to see it. I don't think we're going to. It was cool, but we'll see. But there should be another one that's nice and close to us. One thing I did get good video of, or I did get pictures of, were a bunch of bugs that I found outside. Just cool looking bugs that are either living on my hops or just out in the garden. So I'll try to pop that in at the end here so you guys can see them. Which probably not as cool as a solar eclipse, but they look a lot better. So aside from the solar eclipse, we've been just catching up on Game of Thrones, which I don't know how Tim puts up with it, because anytime we watch anything, but especially Game of Thrones, he'll just sit there so quietly through the whole episode while I am shrieking and calling out guesses, and I did a really good job on the last episode. Really good job of guessing things, which is not always the case, but he manages to just not, he doesn't get irritated, so it's such a perfect relationship for me, because I can't stay quiet while watching movies. It's probably really annoying, but Tim seems to like it, so that's good. We've been picking lots of apples, though. Our 3 mature apple trees have been producing, and we grabbed all the ones that we could reach that were lower, but the problem is the trees are kind of low to the ground, and they're on a pretty steep hill, so we didn't want to put out a ladder. So I got this really cool, it's a big stick that has like a basket on it that's kind of shaped like this. So it's only curved on one side, and they're a little bit longer than the other side, so you like snag the apple and pull, and then it falls into the basket, and there's a little foam pad that sits in there so you can like reach up and pick. And I think you can get it, there's like one apple that's out of reach, and it's beautiful, and it's the only one we can't get to, but aside from that we can reach every other apple on the tree using this picker. So we've been having a lot of fun. We probably look super goofy to our neighbors. Our neighbor who lives across the street, when we asked him, or when we told him what we were going to do, he just kind of looked at us and he's like, well, I just used a ladder. So I guess really we could just use a ladder, but this is more fun. So that's what we're going with. But I already made one batch of applesauce. I tossed in, I haven't tried it yet, but I tossed in some dried up orange peels that we usually use for making bitters to add to our drinks. But I thought this would be fun to try out, and I think it'll work well, because it's got cinnamon, cloves, and that little bit of orange. So I think it's going to turn out really, really well. We'll see. If not, I can dilute it with more applesauce. But we've got quite a lot of apples. I got my first apple peeler and corer, which is fun. I want to save up and get the one for the KitchenAid, but I think that's going to be well down the road. But I think that's pretty much it. It's been mostly Game of Thrones, Beverly Hillbillies, and apple harvesting, with solar eclipse to shake things up in the middle. But yeah, I guess that'll be it for this week, and I will see you guys next week. So definitely head on over to the Ravelry group and post if you have been tracking your mileage for the There and Back Again Cal, and if you would let me know down below what podcast you guys have been watching lately. That would be great, so I can find some new ones. Thank you so much to everyone who tunes in each week. It really means a lot to me that you guys are stopping in to see what I'm up to. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe down below so you'll get notified when there are new episodes. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching, and happy making. Bye, guys. Alright everyone, today we are out in the coop. This is Miss Pettigrew, one of the Miss Pettigrews. You can see Foghorn here. There goes Bluto. Here we have Catherine, one of the beautiful Miss Bacalls, or Ladies Bacall. In the back here you can see Becky and Hey Hey. Hey Hey's got a little more of a beard than Becky does. The Miss Pettigrews are always very curious and trying to eat anything on me that sparkles, including my wedding ring. Little rivets on my pants, just anything really they can get their little beaks on. But yeah, here's the ladies. Here's one of their eggs that they've started producing, which Miss Pettigrew wants back. She just wants to peck it. Here is the wonderful guard dog Tessa, basking in the sun and wishing he could play.